Hello dear student, let's start our lesson. Today we'll start IELTS writing. Here is the agenda for today's lesson. First we'll be talking about general facts about IELTS writing for writing task 1 and 2. Second, we'll start the part 1 for writing task 1, which is first we'll talk about types of charts, general techniques for writing task 1, and I'll teach you how to write introductory statement. So here we have 6 questions, 6 multiple questions about general facts for IELTS writing tasks. So please read the questions, stop the video, read the questions, answer them, and on the next slide I'll show you the answers. So the first question, how long is the writing paper? 40 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes? Question number 2. How long should you spend on each task? 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. B. 30 minutes for task 1 and 60 minutes for task 2. Number 3. Is it a good idea to take longer than this for task 1? Why? Yes or no? Question number 4. How much do you have to write for each task? So that is in terms of word limit. Yeah. A. Minimum 150 words for task 1 and 250 words for task 2. B. Minimum 250 words for task 1 and 350 words for task 2. Question number 5. What kind of writing do you have to do for task 1? A. Describing a diagram. B. Writing a diary entry. C. Writing a formal letter. And the last question, what kind of writing do you have to do for task 2? A report on a book you have read. B. An essay discussing an issue of general interest. And C. An article for a newspaper. Okay, so have a few minutes to answer the questions. So here we have the answers. Number 1, yes, you need to spend 60 minutes in general, which is 1 hour for writing task 1 and 2 altogether. Question number 2, it's advisable to spend 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. But in real practice, I usually recommend my students to minimize time for task 1 and maximize time for task 2 because according to the examiners, they give more marks for task 2. So logically, it would be better to spend more time for task 2. So I usually say my students 15 minutes for task 1 and 45 minutes for task 2. This is what I recommend. Number 3, it's not a good idea to spend more time for task 1 because, as I said before, task 2 have more marks than task 1. Number 4, the answer is A. You need to spend minimum 100. You need to write minimum 150 words for task 1 and minimum 250 words for task 2. Later on, I'll discuss what's the average number of words you should write. So it says minimum, but let's say you don't have to write 200 words for task 1 or 300 words for task 2. Here is the logic is like this. The more you write, the more mistakes you have. So try to be something like 150 and between 165, let's say, like plus minus 10-15 words, but not much. Question 5, for writing task 1, you need to describe a diagram, give a report. Question 6, you'll need to write essay by discussing a problem of a general interest. Okay, so let's have a close look at writing task 1, and here we have 6 facts for writing task 1. First, as I said before, word limit 150 words, and it's advisable to write no more than 165 words. But again, it depends. If you have, let's say, 2 or 3 diagrams in one writing task, yeah, you may spend around 190 words or up to 200 words, but not more than 200 words for sure. As I told you before, yeah, the more you write, the more mistake you may have. Number 2, time limit 20 minutes, but during the practice, make sure you spend 15 minutes. Number 3, write a report about the chart or diagram. Number 4, don't write your personal opinions. Personal opinions you will write in task 2, not task 1. Number 5, present information by 1, comparing, and 2, contrasting. So you don't have to present the information like, let's say, in a chronological way, yeah, like first it says this, second this, third this. No, you need to have a critical eye on the diagram. So you need to highlight the maximum numbers, highlight minimum numbers, compare some trends. Yeah, so you need to write a kind of critical writing, not just describing, only describing. Yeah, you need to compare and contrast. And 6, of course, grammar is important, spelling, also punctuation. All of them are important aspects. Okay, so let's discuss types of charts. Okay, in the third box, I wrote down all possible types of charts. So please look at this picture, have some time, and try to match the name for each table. For each chart. So the first chart is a line graph, and the second chart is bar chart. And bar chart can be 2 types, horizontal and vertical. 2 more charts. Please have some time, think, and give me the names. So the first one is a pie chart with a table, and the second is a vertical bar chart with a table. What about this one? What do you think? What kind of chart it is? You can name it flow chart, diagram, or figure. And this one? These are both of them. Yeah, of course, the first one is pie chart and the other one is bar chart. And when you paraphrase all together in the introductory statement, you can say both of them graphs, diagrams, charts, or visuals. And this one, we say flow chart, diagram, or figure. Try to memorize the name of these charts. In order to practice, you can draw kind of similar types of charts, just small ones, and write down names nearby and try to memorize them. So when you'll have writing task 1, if you give the specific name for the graph, it will be a bonus for you. Okay, so here we have 7 steps for successful writing task 1. The first step, you need to give a brief introductory statement. So if you avoid introduction sentence, you lose marks. Number 2, give an overview that summarizes the essential information in the visual. So, which means you don't have to say or write all the numbers shown in the diagram. Yeah, so you have to say the important ones, the essential ones, and compare them logically. Number 3, choose the most relevant information, as I told you before. Number 4, organize the information from the visuals. So before you start writing, you do the brainstorming like for 1 or 2 minutes, and you need to organize what you're going to say first, second, and third. 5, describe the data presented in the visual accurately. So for example, if it says something like 47% if you write 46 in your writing, then it would be counted as a mistake. So you need to present the numbers accurately and correctly. 6, write a concluding statement. Conclusion is important here. In some of the books, they say that, okay, you can omit conclusion, but in the recent books, they suggest to write a conclusion. And the concluding statement don't have to be clearly stated, like as a conclusion or something like this. So you can write the last sentence by saying the general trend or main feature of the diagram. And the last one, step 7, check your writing to correct any mistakes. So let's say you spend 13 minutes for writing and you need to save 2 minutes for self-correction. This is very important because when you read again your writing, you may have a chance to correct yourself in terms of spelling, in terms of punctuation. Maybe you forget some commas and so on. So do the self-correction for sure. Okay, introductory statement. This is the first step that you do when you start writing task 1. So I'm gonna give you some tips that I usually give for my students. So first, you mustn't copy the same words from the task in the test paper. So don't just copy the question itself. Use synonyms to paraphrase the task. Even it's advisable to use different sentence structure to paraphrase the task. So here is the task, for example. The graph shows life expectancy for males and females in the UK from 1902 to 2025. This is the task given. Now, when you start writing, try to restate, paraphrase the same task in your paragraph 1. So for paragraph 1, you will write introductory statement. And your introductory statement may consist of 1, 2, or maximum 3 sentences. So in this paraphrasing, you have 2 sentences. The line graph gives the average length of life for men and women in the UK between 1901 and 2025. The figures from 2002 onwards are projections. Projections means something like predictions. The synonym for predictions. As you see here, they use synonym for for males and females as men and women, and even when they say the date from the to this, they use the different words between and this. And again, they stated the specific type of graph, which is line graph. And they say life expectancy, they change it as an average length of life. So really good paraphrasing. With this kind of introductory statement, you can easily get above 7 mark. And here is one more example of how you can paraphrase it by using passive voice sentence structure. So you basically change subject and object place. If you don't know what is passive voice, please Google it, practice it, learn how to do it. And here is the example of how you can use it in a passive voice. The information about the average length of life for men and women in the UK between 1901 and 2025 is given in the above line graph. And the figures from 2002 onwards are projections. So as you see here, I'm using this, let's say, formula, this sentence structure. The information about is given in the above chart. So you just change the whole structure of the sentence. So please take a note of this in your copybook and use it while practicing. So that's all for today. No, not all. This is the last slide, sorry. So when you give the time scales, here I gave you some options how you can present the time scale. For example, between and this, from to this, starting in and ending in. For a 5-year period. So you can just calculate how much is the period, and you can just say by one word, instead of saying all these years. It's the best, actually, one of the best techniques of giving the time scale. You just make it as a period. For a 5-year period beginning in 2000. And another tip for me is that use thesaurus.com to find more synonyms for paraphrasing introduction. For example, the word percentage, which is very popular for writing task 1. So here is, you can use proportion, ratio, rate, and so on. So use this website for while doing the homework. So in a separate document, you'll find lesson 10 practice document, where you'll need to do lots of paraphrasing introductory statements.